What's up, you guys? I hope you're very well. I hope you're having a very nice day. On today's video, we have this terrarium that's been going for quite a bit now. Um, I think this is at least 2 years old, and it's very low tech. It's a little build that I've been keeping in this little stand under this little light here. It's an LED light. And in general, like I was saying, it's super low tech because the only thing I got to do is fill up um, the glass with water, and that's pretty much it. You do run into some problems because this, as you can see over here, it's lidless. So today we're going to be working on it a little bit, and yeah, we're going to talk about some key points if you want to recreate this on your own. And I think it's going to be a cool little video. So here we go. So here we are. As you can see, this little build has seen better days. It looks as if the ferns that are growing in it are suffering from a bit of nutrient deficiency, and that might be a result of nutrients that we used at the base being depleted after, it's grown for a couple of years. After these moss and these moss patches and these ferns. Well, I never planted these, but they started growing and growing. So after ferns and plants have grown here for a couple of years now. So still, what we can do is to fertilize in the water or use tablets. So that depends on you, what you got on hand. Originally, this was the wall style method, so the nutrients were at the base in the shape of gardening soil. But now we do see some nutrient deficiency. Still, if I didn't want to add anything at the moment, it will still look in top shape after a couple of operations. The first of which is going to be removing some of the leaves that we have here. You can see, for example, if I rotate it a little bit, that the tips the tips are a bit brown, and as a rule of thumb with plants in general, that means that the roots are being disturbed. So what I'm thinking is two things. Like I was saying, a lack of nutrients that explains the yellow color, and also uh, not enough water that stresses the root out. So the second one is my fault, is my doing, because, like I said, being a litless build, sometimes what happens is that it completely dries up, like today's today's day, and yeah, when you do that, or when you don't do that, well, the plants can get stressed, and we get these brown tips, like we can see on these ferns. Yeah. So what are we going to do today? We're going to do a little bit of pruning, especially the ferns. We're going to do a little bit of moss planting, and we're going to call that a day. Yeah. So here we are. The first thing, like I said, is remove the leaves that have been damaged. And what I'll try and do is to work with only one hand, and I'll try to see through the screen so that we get a nice shot. Yeah, so that you guys can see better. But in general, this is pretty straightforward. You just got to remove the leaves that have brown tips or that don't look too good. Yeah. So what's going to happen when I do this? Well, first of all, uh, it doesn't kill the fern because let me see if I can show you over here. You see those little twirly things that we see here? Let me just point them out for you here. These are the new leaves that are emerging. So you know that light is a valuable resource for plants. What they try and do is to take up as much space as possible so that they can get enough light and cover everything else. They have that competition going on, and so what happens is that the other plants and the moss that lays beneath those leaves becomes shaded and eventually dies. So that's why we want to remove some of the leaves. We're not going to kill the fern. If anything, we're just going to be encouraging other plants and the moss to continue growing. I have this little grass over here, and this is a bit unsightly at the moment because, like I said, sometimes it dries up a little too much over here. So we're gonna clean the tips, and we're also gonna plant some moss. So I'm gonna continue doing this, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm finished. So here I go. So here we are. I removed most of the leaves that were yellow or had damaged tips. And now over here, well, over here I got what I removed, and over here I got this tray of moss. It doesn't look like much at the moment, but that's because the temperatures over here have been crazy. We're going through a heat wave, and it's expected to get worse. So the moss looks a bit wobbly at the moment, wobbly and unhealthy and brown, but it's alive, and it's going to do for this build. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to plant some, just like so. Sorry about the noises, but the neighbors are dumb. And yeah, it's going to be super, super easy. And I think this build is really going to benefit from this operation. On the right side over here, we do have a lot of brown spots, but in general, this looks healthier than the left side. I think there's a reason for this, but I haven't thought about it that much. And in general, I'm only going to plant moss in this section right here because it looks completely devoid. But this one over here and this, especially this area over here, it looks green. So if I just continue watering it, and just topping up the water that evaporates naturally, I think it's going to do well. So I'm going to continue planting the moss, and we're just going to call that a day. You'll see once I put it back in its original stand that it's going to look much better. Since right now the lighting it's not the best. I'm working right next to a window, so yeah. So anyway, I'm going to continue, and I'm going to show you the end result right back at the stand. Yeah. So here I go. So I was already filling it up with water. As you can see here, we've already got a nice water line there. Uh, Normally it's filled all the way up to here, but I noticed that there were some places in the little mounds or in the little hills that we got over there don't have any plants at all, and no moss at all, which could be a good place to put some more plants in. A little less covering, a little less overshadowing, and that's why I brought this little Solanginella that I have over here. It looks super sad at the moment, but that's exactly the same reason that I was mentioning earlier, which is that heat spell or dry spell, heat wave that we've been experiencing. This, with a few drops of water, is going to look as sharp as ever. This is a little azalea cutting. And yeah, I'm going to plant a couple of these branches here and there, and I think it's going to be a nice addition to the whole build. That's the last thing that I'm going to do, and then we're going to call it a day. Okay, so here we go. And this is the end result. As you can see, I already filled it up with water. This is a bit higher than usual, but you can see that this definitely needed a little bit of water at the moment. So I think in a couple of weeks, in a couple of days actually, this will look much much better. Another thing, if you have terrariums, whatever ecosystem that you do or that you make at home, it's very important that the quality of water is top notch. Just because calcium, yeah, the minerals diluted in the water could stain your glass and also be a bit detrimental to your plants. I don't know if you could see like frosty tips, especially on this little hill. That's, yeah, that's the calcium and that's the mineral. So reverse osmosis water, it's the best. So anyway, I hope you like this short video. If you have any doubts, comments, questions, anything, drop them down below. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.